He said it was that win.
Oh, out of control goes Kenseth.
Over on his roof.
Get back on the wheels.
Car gets out of shape and then just pirouettes on its left side and goes over.
And we talk about the bump drafting has to be done on the straightaway, and you can see even on the straightaway, if you get hit too hard, it just takes the steering wheel out of your hands as a driver.
Matt Kenseth during the NASCAR Nationwide Series race would barrel roll down the backstretch at Talladega after a vicious slide to the inside and a weird overcorrect and weight shift. Kenseth's car would slide on its roof and barrel roll into the grass, landing on all four tires. Thankfully, Kenseth was okay after this accident, but this is one of the only few times Kenseth has actually flipped in NASCAR.
And you have to guess which one.
Well, that's why he's doing what he's doing. It's just all over the racetrack.
Oh, Elliott Sadler over once and a half and on his roof. Caution is out.
There he is, right in the middle. And these guys are Dyson. Go ahead, BP.
And there he makes contact. He comes down trying to get in front of Kurt Busch. They make contact. Watch that thing fall. You know, it lands on that road you talked about.
And then when it gets onto the racetrack again, it takes another nasty flip. Watch this hit.
That's a hard one right here.
Oh, man.
They all look pretty hard. Yeah, they do. I don't want to be in there in any of them.
Like I said, that car really held up well above the driver.
But you see the hood flopping around and the deck lid, the tethers that NASCAR has these teams installed to keep the hood and deck lid to work.
He took the steering wheel off right away.
Yeah.
Elliott Sadler has had some wild rides in NASCAR. He's had the infamous 2010 crash at Pocono. He's flipped at Talladega multiple times, but the worst one was the 2003 crash down the backstretch. Elliott Sadler would get turned down the backstretch and then go barrel rolling in the air, landing on all four tires. This was one of the most iconic flips in NASCAR, especially in the mid-2000s when it was at its peak in popularity. Seeing the M&M car fly down the backstretch in the air, barrel rolling was definitely a sight to see.
Whoa, look out! Elliott's gone! Keselowski, Reddick, two playoff drivers in this wreck! And the car goes over! Tyler Reddick has flipped!
Yep, I'm good.
My goodness, what was the catalyst? How did that start?
Restarts. They are so aggressive. You got to get spots when you can. How about Reddick flips and drives the thing back to pit road?
So Reddick is up high. We'll look at the 45, the Jumpman car. There's contact. Contact maybe with Truex and Elliott. That was the spark.
It is. Truex and Elliott side by side. I don't know if it's contact or just arrow tight, but the 9 of Elliott up the racetrack, not meaning to, catches the 45. Around goes the 45, and as the 45 gets in here, he hops onto the quarter mile and gets upside down. Crazy looking accident for Tyler Reddick in the 45.
That is crazy.
I never thought I would see this. A NextGen car flip at a mile and a half, and just like at Las Vegas, but it's through the grass. I guess Chris Buescher did it in the 2022 Coca-Cola 600, and Reddick was able to do it on actual grass and not the turf. But regardless, Reddick would get caught up in an accident between Chase Elliott and Martin Truex, sending him into the grass and then it catching and rolling down the front stretch, landing on all four tires, and Reddick was actually able to keep going and drive away. Now that's pretty awesome if you ask me.
Just about like running an event in a pizza oven, and there's been...
And there's a spin. There's trouble.
Car upside down.
Schrader.
Schrader's number 25, side over side, end over end. Another car in trouble and also getting airborne.
Terry Labonte is involved. His car spinning around on the grass. There is Elton Sawyer spinning around. Rusty Wallace there. There's Lake Speed. There's Rick Mask.
Bobby Labonte is up against the wall.
One tough customer. That is Ken Schrader out of St. Louis, Missouri, Fenton.
Well, that was a terrible roll.
Here's what.
He's upside down.
the guardrail, side over side, end over end, and Davey Allison has experienced a horrifying crash.
See some contact between Darrell Waltrip and Davey Allison, and the car just flew through the air. Well, he got on the air, in the air very quickly. It goes over the top of the guardrail.
Yep.
Flipped right over the top of the guardrail.
The safety crew is right there. It stopped just in front of one of the safety trucks.
Earnhardt just went right on out in front of them.
Good move by Mike Wallace on the inside. The FTP Brake Chevrolet back up front. Mark Martin has picked up where he left off before. One car spinning. The car number 41.
Johnny Benson, as a car takes a roll as it slid backwards, apparently the air just picked the back end of it up, and it looks like he might have been tagged by a car, Jared. There was a pack of cars running together, and then it gets backwards, and you see the spoiler sticking up there. The air gets under it and lifts the back end up, and then it just starts rolling over in the grassed area on the backstretch here at the Michigan International Speedway. Fortunately, it does not get over into that guardrail, but that's a pretty serious-looking crash, but it lands on its wheels.
Different angle again for that scary crash here in the early laps. Looking across the racetrack, you see the rear of the car starting to get off the ground. You'll get a sense of actually how high this car will lift here as it came off the ground and begins to tumble. Higher than some of the scaffolds there where our cameras are located.
Well, Jerry, the speeds have increased so much here at the Michigan International Speed.
Just going by Noah. A little bit of contact on with the right front fender. Car turned sideways and just flipped in the air. That is, quite honestly, that's just not acceptable. There's no way that a car, when it turns like that, should get up in the air that easily. There has been millions of dollars and hours of time spent to prevent that from happening. That's going to catch everybody by surprise.
And you see right there a slide that gives you a great view of the whole underbody we talk about, the underwing, everything that people talk about for damage, and then here it catches the grass and a couple pretty violent tumbles. I mean, you said it, Rick, 3,000 pounds. It looks like a Matchbox car just tumbling through the grass. Let's watch it again, Jeff.
This
he
is
has
earlier.
a big run.
This was earlier. So this was, they were racing, this was the lap before. And, you know, obviously drivers upset at each other. But, you know, right here, I just feel like, yeah, he's just turning, right? And I can't tell from this shot if Noah comes down or not, but either way, this car to get in the air like that is shocking.
And Steve, you've shown us over and over when those flaps open up, that's supposed to help keep these cars on the ground.
Sometimes Cory LaJoie just can't get out of his own way. I feel like Cory LaJoie could actually be a pretty decent race car driver if he didn't make these mistakes. He's made bad comments in the past and bad driving moves on the racetrack. He was racing Noah Gragson and got a little upset with him and tried to hit him and show him how upset he was. Ended up wrecking himself down the backstretch and then sliding down across the track, barrel rolling in the grass and landing on all four wheels. Thankfully, after this, Cory LaJoie was okay, but it was unfortunate that it had to come to a point where he was upset, and this was the reason it happened. This isn't the first time there was a flip at Michigan, and it probably won't be the last either.
Oh boy, Zane Smith on his side and over. And there we go, that's a good sign. Zane Smith out of the car, communicating with the AMR safety team, and here's how it went down.
Run the red flag because of this wreck. 42. John Hunter Nemechek just drives into the left rear quarter panel with Zane. Zane climbs the wall, and gets on the left side and just rim rides it all the way around. Not sure I've ever seen that before, Steve.
This will be wild.
Things happen so quickly when they first happen, but this takes forever when you're in that car. This part.
This is something I never thought I would actually see in person. I was actually sitting in the grandstands at Kansas when it happened, and I didn't even see it because I was too focused on the lead. But regardless, Zane Smith would wall ride, not the Ross Chastain style, the Lightning McQueen style. He would be on the wall after being pushed into it by John Hunter Nemechek, and he would go barrel rolling down the track, landing on all 4 tires. These NASCAR NextGen race cars are definitely weird and bulky, so somehow this was actually able to work. Regardless, Zane Smith had an unfortunate race because of this. There was nothing really he could do after being pushed in the wall by John Hunter. He would slide down the racetrack and land on all 4 tires, which made it even cooler. But seeing him on the wall like this was just wild.
At restrictor plate tracks, also a little bit discouraged with how there was a gap between his own race cars. So what did he do? He implemented a specialized team completely dedicated to restrictor plate racing. Less than a dozen people. Oh, and we've got trouble on the track, and it's Kyle Busch upside down.
Big time crash. Kyle Busch goes upside down and rolls down across on his roof here on lap 26. Cars comes back over, and now side over side barrel rolls and comes to rest on its wheels. A horrific crash here at Talladega on lap 26 involving Kyle Busch, and thankfully the window net is down. There, the safety crews on the scene immediately, and Kyle Busch is climbing out of that car. Wow, listen to this.
He moved to the outside to go around Casey Mears. It looked like Tony was going to go out there to help him, and it could have possibly been a little bit of contact. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be, because you can get yourself out there and all of a sudden the air's changing, and just a horrific wreck. But once again, Kyle Busch gets out and walks away.
We sure did a lot of damage. But it looked to me like right here, as we watch this, it looked like that maybe they all started stacking up. It's hard to say that, you know, Tony Stewart wasn't getting some help from behind, or maybe even further back than right behind him. Like they're all just kind of stacking up.
Yeah. Yeah, when that happens, usually because everything changes, the air changes, and what you've been doing.
In 2007, when trying to pass for the lead, Kyle Busch early on in the Talladega Nationwide Series race would end up upside down, and his tire would actually fly off and hit another race car. That was dangerous in its own part. But Kyle Busch would go barrel rolling across the track, go in the grass, and then start tumbling as it would hook. The car was on fire, but Kyle Busch was able to get out of his race car safely, thankfully. This is probably one of the more scariest accidents that Kyle Busch ever had in his racing career.
We've heard, oh, here's a car upside down.
Big time crash upside down.
It's Ryan Newman.
See Kevin Harvick there, Marcus Ambrose.
Ambrose is there, comes across, Harvick stops, and Newman's car comes to rest upside down on its roof. We were hoping it would not happen, and here with 5 laps to go, indeed it has.
Hell of a job.
I don't know what started that, but you see, you know, quite a bit of damage on that car. Flipped over 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I was looking out the window, but I could not see. That's so far. That's the farthest point away from us. Just couldn't tell what was going on there.
The safety crews are there immediately. They get in the car and will try to communicate with the driver.
Six years later, but on the backstretch, Ryan Newman would also be flipped over. This time it was completely flipped over, where his car landed on his roof, and it was difficult for him to exit his vehicle after the accident. Ryan Newman is a very tall man, and to get him out of a vehicle that's flipped over was a tall task. They didn't want to injure Newman in the process. What had happened was he got spun down the backstretch, and with these COT cars in the wing, it just put his car in the air, and it went nose first on the ground, and then the wing landed on Kevin Harvick's windshield. Now that's extremely dangerous to have happen. Newman's car would then go sliding back up across the racetrack and barrel rolling until it landed in the grass upside down.
Whether the team could switch points.
Whoa, guys, whoa. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I have never seen anything like that in my life.
He hit that wall a ton.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael's moving around in the car. My goodness. That's the part of the racetrack.
I can't even hardly watch that.
It's a part of the racetrack, but Murray said was a little slick getting in. Not knowing if Michael changed his line a little bit, got a little too much into